Here Lord Brahma is offering prayers and praising Karda Muni and Mother Devahuti because they are extremely fortunate to have Supreme Lord as their son in the form of Lord Kapila. So in the purport, Prabhupada explains many significant points like how glorious it is to become father of the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada says Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita are the only two scriptures in the world which teach us to become father of God. Right? Not beyond, it is beyond treating God as our father. Of course, God is Supreme Father, but the devotional mellow of becoming father of the Lord is taught by these two scriptures. So, these two authorized scriptures. Otherwise, many people write so many things which are insignificant, not to be considered at all, but as per scriptures are concerned. So, Prabhupada very interestingly explains the mood and role of becoming father of the Supreme Lord. Like, there are devotees who consider Krishna as their son, as their child. So, in a lecture on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Prabhupada explains that worshipping Lord as one's son, how glorious and how significant it is, and how it enhances the devotional service. So, he points out three important things. What is the mood? First, Prabhupada says, when you treat the Supreme Lord as your child, you cannot ask anything from him. So, correct, his child. So, you cannot ask, God, give me my daily bread. You can ask, Father, give me my daily bread. But you cannot ask your child. When you treat Laddu Gopal, Krishna as a very small child. So, all, like Prabhupada says, other than Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam, all other scriptures teach us to treat Supreme Lord as our Father. And when we treat Supreme Lord as our Father, there is a tendency to ask benedictions. Right? And that's what we see in all religions, all faiths. Even in Vedic literatures also we see that asking for benedictions from Supreme Lord, like worship of Supreme Lord is a part of Upasana Kanda. Worship of Vishnu comes in Upasana Kanda also as Panchopasana. In Panchopasana, Vishnu, Shiva, Devi, Ganesha, Surya, they are all worshipped in Panchopasana. So Panchopasana is meant to worship the Supreme Lord or any Devata for fulfilling one's desires, benedictions. So even though one Vedic literatures, other Vedic literatures, they motivate us to worship Vishnu through Upasana Kand or any other process, but there is also a hidden intention of asking something from the Lord. But when we talk about Bhagavatam, Lord Chaitanya says this is Amal Puran. There is no contamination. So there is no asking anything from the Supreme Lord. And when one worships the Supreme Lord as one's child, then he cannot ask, give me my daily bread. Then he has to think, I should secure some daily bread and give to the Lord. How will I serve the Lord? Timely, how will I feed the Lord? Like Mother Yashoda is always anxious to feed the Lord. So immediately the mood changes. Then another thing Prabhupada mentions. When you treat the Lord as a small child, you have to give constant attention to the child. So in this way, one constantly meditates on the Lord, constantly remembers the Lord and pays attention to his requirements, his necessities. Isn't it? So, otherwise, when we ask benedictions from the Lord, when we get the benediction, then there is a tendency to forget the Lord. And this is what in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, we say 4 kinds of people who serve the Lord. Jana, Sukritina, Arjuna. The Sukritina people, they very intensely serve the Lord, but only as long as their benediction is granted. As long as they receive whatever they desired, they tend to forget. Correct? Until unless again they need something, again they'll come back to Lord. So attention from Lord goes away when we receive the desired benediction. Why? Because we are self-centered. But when Lord is worshipped as a small child, one seriously takes up this kind of worship, then constant attention on the care of the Lord, protection of the Lord, feeding the Lord, serving the Lord, taking care of the Lord. All these things are there. So this is another aspect that Prabhupada reveals. And we see in Mother Yashoda's dealing with Lord Krishna in Bhagavatam, we see how careful, how anxious she was all the time. When Krishna is there, she is always keeping an eye whether my child is safe or not. If he is doing any mischief which may harm him, so immediately very protective. When he is not there, she is constantly meditating. He would have gone to forest. What will he be doing? How will he be? Is he okay? He is not okay. There are so many demons. There is constant meditation on the Lord. Right? In the mood of anxiety, in the mood of protection, in the mood of taking care. Then third, that is intense loving service, intense loving and caring service. Now this Prabhupada explains in Bhagavad Gita also and Bhagavatam also, where Arjuna says to Lord Krishna that Senayor Ubhayor Madhya Ratham Sthapam Achyata. So Arjuna is asking Lord to place his chariot in the middle of both the armies. So in the purport, Prabhupada explains that he is calling Achyuta also, and he is at the same time ordering Lord to place a chariot also. From Arjuna's side, he is calling Achyuta because he knows Lord is Krishna is Supreme Lord. He is infallible. Even though he has taken the role of my charioteer, he is not my charioteer. He is my Supreme Lord, worshipful Lord. From Lord's side, Lord takes pleasure on being ordered by the devotee, a pure devotee. So, this is the mood of Lord. So, when Yashoda Mata, she chastises Krishna, she binds Krishna, she runs behind Krishna to catch him and to rectify when he is mischievous. Lord enjoys these things. When gopis, they dress Krishna as gopi, they put all womanly gopi dress and all ornaments and make him dance. So it looks like gopis are enjoying, but actually Krishna is also enjoying. He is enjoying furthermore because he is doing something to please his pure devotees. He is being ordered by his devotees to do. So Krishna loves, Prabhupada says Krishna loves to become puppet in devotees' hands. So this is the mood. So why it is so? Because devotees intensely care for Krishna. They intensely serve Krishna. They love Krishna more than their own lives. So for such devotees, Krishna wants to bless them like this. So getting Krishna as child or Supreme Lord as child, this is extraordinary. In devotional service, it is extraordinary. Becoming a pure devotee and relating with the Lord, but becoming superior than the Lord, taking the position superior than the Lord and ordering the Lord is extraordinary in devotional service. So here we see that Karna Muni and Mother Devahuti, they have got this opportunity. Even to see the childhood pastimes which are very sweet. And these childhood pastimes which are very sweet are reserved for those kind of extraordinary devotees who have intense love for Krishna. Now, from Krishna's perspective, Prabhupada explains that how Lord enjoys. Right? Like we see in Bhagavad Gita, Lord enjoys being ordered by the devotee. Right? Because he is ordering everybody. Everybody is under him. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita multiple places. But when a pure devotee orders him, he becomes pleased because as a pure devotee wants to please Krishna, Krishna also wants to please his pure devotee. And when he pleases his pure devotee, he derives more pleasure in that. So, in 7th chapter, purport, Prabhupada quotes one verse from Bhagavatam. Aham bhakta paradhino hi asatantra evaduja sadhuvir grasta hridyo bhaktar bhakta janapriya. So, in this verse, the devotees, Lord, this is the context where Durvasa Muni, being chased by Sudarshan Chakra, approaches Lord Vishnu. And he says that, please save me from the Sudarshan Chakra. So, he says, Lord says, I cannot order Sudarshan to stop. Why? Because Sudarshan has come to save my pure devotee. And I am under the control of my pure devotee. If my pure devotee grants forgiveness to you, then only it will stop. So now Sudarshan Chakra is under the control of pure devotee, not under me. So there he quotes few verses. Amongst those, one is The devotees are always in my heart and I am always in the heart of the devotees. So the first line itself is so significant. The devotees are always in my heart. So just like devotee is constantly meditating on Krishna, Krishna is also constantly meditating on his devotees. Like Krishna many places says, Ananyas chintayanto pam, satatam chintayanto, satatam kirtayanto. So many things. So constantly Krishna is saying devotees constantly are engaged in my meditation, my talking, my conversing about me, thinking about me, working for me. In the same way, I am constantly thinking about my devotees. Right? This is the position that Lord gives to his devotees. And that is how, because Lord considers, devotees in such a high, position, he is ready to do anything for the devotees. Even when the devotees dress him like a gopi and ask him to dance, he is ready to dance. Why? Because that is how the devotees serve Lord with their whole heart and soul. So Lord also wants to give in return his heart and soul to them. So the devotees are always in my heart and I am always in the heart of the devotees. The devotee does not know anything beyond me and I also cannot forget the devotee. Right? There is a very intimate relationship between me and the pure devotees. Pure devotees in full knowledge are never out of spiritual touch. And therefore, they are very much dear to me. So, there is a very intimate relationship between me and the pure devotees. There is a very interesting instance in Mahabharata with respect to Arjuna and Krishna. When Dhritarashtra had sent Sanjay as messenger to Pandavas, that time Pandavas were there, Lord Krishna was there with them and Draupadi was also there. So all of them were sitting and Sanjay came as messenger with Dhritarashtra's message. Right? So finally they were discussing, after Sanjay whatever message he has to give, he gave. Then they were discussing, should there be war or the war can be avoided? Right. So war should be there or war can be avoided, or there can be some peace compromise and we'll adjust with whatever they gave, like that. The discussion was going on. So Bhima was very much towards pro-war. War has to be there, it is inevitable, because I have to rip apart Dushasana's heart and I have to take the blood. I have to wash Draupadi's hair with that blood. So he was too much inclined. He said no compromise. Arjuna and Yudhishthir were, okay, we can do away, like that. Draupadi said, no, war has to happen. Then Lord said, see, all of you may have your own opinions, whether war should happen or not happen. But I have decided it will happen because I have to avenge Draupadi's insult. You don't feel for it, doesn't matter, I feel. Right? Then he says to Sanjaya later, you come and meet me in my private chamber. So Lord Krishna calls Sanjaya to his private chamber. So when Sanjaya enters, he sees Lord Krishna and Arjuna, they are sitting on a bedstead next to each other, and Arjuna's legs are on Lord Krishna's thighs, and Draupadi is fanning Arjuna and Rukmini Devi is fanning Krishna. The moment Sanjaya sees this, he understands what is the position of Arjuna, what position Lord Krishna has given to Arjuna, and with whom Dhritarashtra is messing up. He immediately falls at his feet and he says, I have understood your answer, I have understood the message. And Sanjay is a pure devotee, he is a disciple of Vyasadeva. So he understands what Lord has decided and it is inevitable. So Lord demonstrates the position of his devotees like this. In Durvasa Muni's case we see, in Sanjay's case we see. So this is the prerogative that Lord gives. And many places we see in Prabhupada's teachings, in Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita also, that how much a devotee is valued by the Lord. Right? So being careful towards devotee, right, because they are carrying Lord in their heart, right, is very, very important. See, like some instances in Bhagavatam, in 11th canto, there is a verse where Lord says, Mat Bhaktya Puja Vidhika. The worship of my devotee is superior to my worship. Even Lord Shiva is telling to Devi Parvati, Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param Tasmat Paratam Devi Tadyanam Samarche. So amongst all the worships, the worship of Lord Vishnu is highest. Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param. But superior to Vishnu worship is worship of pure devotee. Right? Tasmat Parataram. Tasmat Parataram means beyond that, superior to that, higher than that. Is Tadyanam. Tadyanam means those who belong to Vishnu. Tadya means to him, his. So those who belong to Vishnu, that is pure devotees, their archana, their upasana, their worship is superior. Like that even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught. Dasa dasanu dasa. Gopir bhartur pada kamleor dasa dasanu dasa. So, Lord is teaching, pure devotees are teaching. What is the position of devotees of the Lord? Right? Even in this verse, like Bhaktar Bhakta Janapriya, Lord is saying Bhaktar Bhakta Janapriya. That not only my bhaktas, but Bhaktar Bhakta, the devotees of my devotees are also very dear to me. Right? So, Aham Bhakta Paradhino, I am under the control of my devotees, and not just I am very dear to me, not just that my pure devotees are very dear to me, even Bhaktar Bhakta Jana, the devotees of my devotees are also very dear to me. So, definitely Prabhupada is very dear to Krishna, but those who follow Prabhupada are also very dear to Krishna, because they have surrendered their life, they have surrendered their heads at the lotus feet of a pure devotee. So immediately they get noticed by the Lord. Right? Even Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, many places, many instances it is mentioned. One who surrenders to a bona fide spiritual master, takes initiation from a bona fide spiritual master and serves Supreme Lord, Lord immediately considers him to be his own self. Lord thinks he is my own self. He is my own person. Right? And also, Lord counts him in his own family. He has become part of my family now. So, considering the position of a devotee, even though someone may not be a father of Krishna, where you have begotten Krishna as your son. No, but carrying Lord in the heart, right? Somebody who is carrying Lord in the heart is as good as father of Krishna, this Prabhupada explains. Carrying Lord in the heart means you attain Vasudeva state. Vasudeva state is the state of pure goodness, transcendental position, where Vasudeva manifests from your heart. So, when Krishna was appearing, in the jail, first he entered into the heart of Vasudeva. From Vasudeva's heart, he entered into the heart of Mother Devaki. So, Prabhupada says Vasudeva means this is that state where one is qualified to receive Vasudeva. Right? This is a transcendental position. Without attaining this state of pure goodness and pure devotion, Lord will not manifest in his heart. So anyone who is carrying Lord in his heart is in Vasudeva state. That is a state of pure goodness. Right? So like Vasudeva carried Vasudeva, Lord Krishna in his heart, and then transferred to Devaki. Like that, anybody who is carrying Lord in his heart, constantly thinking of Lord in his heart, constantly trying to serve the Lord, through his mood, he is as good as, carrying the Lord just like Vasudeva is carrying. So, it's not, Prabhupada doesn't say equating as father, but he's in the same transcendental position as Vasudeva. So, that's how having Lord in the heart constantly, caring for Lord in the heart constantly, meditating on the Lord constantly, serving the Lord constantly, right? Without personal motivation, like one serves a child, it is same as giving the same care, same affection, same attention to the Lord, same respect to the Lord as Karda Muni, Devoti, Vasudevaki do to Supreme Lord. So this is how Bhagavatam teaches how Lord has to be cared for. Right? How Lord has to be cared for. Sometimes people assume, now another danger is that sometimes people assume a position of, ये काना मेरा बच्चा है, काना मेरा लल्ला है, right? And so many reels they make. What kind of reels they make? They'll have a thali. In that thali, there'll be, some gobi manchurian, aloo pakoda, pulao. Then they'll take it and they'll put in their Laddu Gopal's mouth, they'll touch the Laddu Gopal's mouth, then they'll keep in another vessel. Then they'll take some rice, put to Laddu Gopal's mouth and keep another vessel. Then they'll make reel and circulate it, and then there will be 17 lakh, 20 lakh views and 50,000, 60,000 likes, and whoa, wow, what a devotion, oh how nice, so emotional, like the comments will be there, so many. But whole point is, Lord is ready to dance. Lord is ready to dance on devotees' tunes. What to talk of eating? But Lord has to grant that position to devotee where the devotee can make Krishna dance. One assumes that position that I can make Krishna dance to my tunes. That is called Sahajiya. That is offensive. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, you are my devotee. In 4th chapter itself, Krishna declared to Arjuna, you are my friend and devotee. Bhakto asime sakha cheti. So Arjuna has understood that Krishna considers me as friend. But 11th chapter, you see, he is saying, please forgive me for all the offenses I have done to you. I have called you Keshav, Yadav and Krishna, and while talking, while eating, while lying down, while walking in front of others, I have disrespectfully treated you. I have offensively behaved with you due to my ignorance. Even though Arjuna knows that Krishna has already declared me as friend and given me that right to do in 4th chapter itself, isn't it? But still in 11th chapter he is very careful. But Sahajiyas are not like that. That Krishna is saying, surrender unto me, surrender unto me. There's we'll put Pukakadra and dance with you. So their mood is totally different. Where Krishna is demanding surrender, they want to jump on Krishna and no, aap hamare lalla ho, ye log aloo gobi pakoda khao, jabardasti khao. Correct? So how offensive it is. So this thing, to come to the position of father of Krishna, Krishna has to grant that position. Krishna has to grant that. He has to sanction, he has to permit somebody to become. Krishna came and declared to Vasudha Devaki that in your previous life you had worshipped me so earnestly. So I granted you this benediction that I will come as your son. And Prishni Garbha, Sutapa and Prishni Garbha, Prishni Sutapa, he came. Then Kashyapaditi, he came as Vamandev. Then Vasudha Devaki, he came as Krishna. So he grants that. Somebody who assumes it on his own without being granted by Krishna, that is taking Krishna very lightly. Taking Krishna as an object of one's sense gratification. I like to do it, so I will do it. No. What Krishna likes to do, that we should do. That is service. So this is not service. Sahajiya Bhava is not a service. Sahajiya Bhava is a sense gratification. And using Krishna for sense gratification is all the more offensive. So such people immediately fall down. Immediately. Right? Prabhupada says they may exhibit some tears and ecstasy. That is natural, but that is offensive because the way they are treating Krishna is not approved by Krishna. So shedding tears and showing some ecstatic symptoms, making show, or they may have also. Right? Prabhupada says the Lord's name is so potent that by chanting, tears coming is obvious, very natural. Right? In Chaitanya Charitamrita, purport Prabhupada says that Lord's name is potent, and by chanting Lord's name, one may show tears. But when one does service unauthorizedly, it's not pleasing to the Lord. Right? So having one's own tears and making a show and making a reel and then posting, it's possible that okay, by chanting name tears can come. But whether question is not about tears, question is about whether that service is pleasing to the Lord or not. This is the whole question. So we have to learn from Krishna. We have to learn from Krishna that what pleases him at this moment, and then we should be ready to do that service at that moment. So for Arjuna, Krishna says, you take a bow and arrow and fight. That will please me. For Mother Yashoda, says, take me in your lap, feed me nicely, play around like that, running around. So that is pleasing. For Gopis, Krishna is saying, come dance with me. That is pleasing. So whole idea is to please Krishna. Not we want to enter into that and we want to do what we feel good or we feel like doing. That is offensive. So unless Lord grants, correct? Unless Lord grants, when one tries to jump into that realm, he becomes offensive. So that's why Prabhupada says that Guru will reveal to you. In one letter, Prabhupada says that Guru will reveal to you what is your constitutional position. Right now, you serve Krishna as a servant. Prabhupada says in a letter, a devotee even does not call himself devotee. Right? That is a very high designation. A devotee always calls himself as servant. So with this mood, we should serve Krishna. Right? So I am not a devotee, I am servant of Krishna. Right? I am servant of Krishna means I should just serve Krishna. Devotee means there is a sense of ego. Prabhupada says there is a sense of ego when you call yourself devotee. But when you say your servant means you are ready to do anything for Krishna. What pleases Krishna, we will do that. So when we do with this mood constantly, then we attain that Vasudeva state. Then getting Krishna as our son, or getting Krishna's darshan in the heart as our son will not be difficult at all. So we'll stop here. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.